I'm the spokesman for the CU Boulder Police Department. With me is Bronson Hilliard, and he's the spokesman for the CU Boulder campus. This is something that we take very seriously. Putting marijuana into a food product and providing it to somebody without their knowledge has always been illegal, and that'll continue to be illegal even after Amendment 64. So I just want to make this clear that these are serious felony cases, and we take these very seriously. We investigated them very quickly and made 2 arrests in a quick fashion.
This has been described by unofficial sources as a poisoning. Is there a legal definition of that? Would you agree with that or not really?
Well, there were 8 people who felt sick from this. The criminal law doesn't call it poisoning, but certainly they felt ill effects from it. So these 8 people who felt ill certainly had a reaction to that, and they were not told that these were marijuana-laced brownies.
Bronson, with Amendment 64 passing, and then I know there's been various sources that have cited CU as a party school, and you guys have done everything you can to try to say, no, that's not the image we want. And do you feel like you could do damage control after yet another story regarding marijuana coming from this campus?
This has got nothing to do with Amendment 64 or a party school. This has to do with people making a very stupid lapse in judgment and violating the trust of their classmates. I mean, this isn't about partying or socializing. It's not about drugs being legal or illegal. This was just a stupid, irresponsible act. It could have happened at any campus. What we're trying to do is educate our students that your individual behavior here matters, that the reputation of this institution, or any institution, depends upon the individual conduct of everybody in it. So to that extent, sure, yeah, it remains a challenge to convey that, but it's the same challenge going on in high schools across the country, going on in universities and colleges and work environments around the country.
Can you classify their behavior as they were arrested? Were they regretful, remorseful? Were they thought it was a joke?
I would say that they were cooperative, and they were arrested without incident. Going into the details of the interview, I can't really do it this time, but I can say that after interviewing both of those individuals, we are confident there was marijuana in Brownies.
Do either one of them have a medical marijuana card?
I don't know that, but frankly, from a criminal standpoint, it doesn't really matter. You cannot provide that kind of marijuana in a food substance to someone who doesn't know about it, regardless if you have a medical marijuana license or not.
Did they say anything about this being an accidental switch up? There was no pot brownies and there were some pot brownies and they switched them, or this was intentional to bring to the class?
Well, one of the items they're charged with here is conspiracy to commit assault. So this was planned. I wouldn't call it an accident. They knew what they were doing. They baked these brownies with THC in them and brought them to class.
Did they think they were going to get away with it, mixed in with other brownies, or, can you give us any sense of their mindset? It was stupid and irresponsible, as you said, but it's like, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. What do you think of the consequences are going to be? Did they give you any sense of that?
Well, to my knowledge, the only food or drink products that were brought that day was some orange juice and these brownies. It was not a host of many different snacks. So, of the 12 people in the class, the 12 students in the class, there were 7 of them that had a bad reaction to it. 2 of them were suspects, and 3 of them did not eat the brownies. And of course, the professor did too.
Was it a normal thing, the Bring Food Day? I'm just out of curiosity. Was there a theme for it that day, or any reason to have that?
One thing I'd say about that, it's not atypical this time of year as we enter into finals. We're in the last week of classes here before we begin final examinations, late this week and early next week. It's not atypical for classrooms to have these kinds of events where people can bring food. Students are in their final studying periods. In the classroom, they're doing review for examinations. So that's not unusual this time of year.
Brian, can you give us an idea of the length of hospital stays?
I don't know the exact time. I know at this point they've all been released.
Can you characterize the potency? I have no idea how it works. There's a lot of marijuana in a brownie, obviously more potent than waste. Can you describe how potent these brownies were?
I don't know the potency of them. I do know that having brownies or a food product laced with marijuana can be more dangerous or can have more harmful effects than, say, somebody smoking marijuana, and especially somebody who's never done it before, they can especially have some pretty bad effects.
And I know it's illegal on campus. Did these guys live on campus? Do you know? know?
You know, they're 21 and 19, so they're not freshmen. They wouldn't be required to live on campus. I don't know.
The amounts that these brownies contain, would that be far beyond personal use amounts, or?
I don't have any information on that.
Sorry.
Bronson, are you going to have to reevaluate policy now with people bringing food into class to share, or is this just an isolated incident?
Right now, I don't think we have any reason to, review the entire policy, but it is something we want to send word out that anybody who thinks this is cute, anybody who thinks that this was funny, is going to face pretty severe sanctions, both criminally and potentially within the student conduct process. At this point, we'll certainly review the specifics of the situation, but I can't see that banning food from all classrooms is a realistic approach here.
And they may have thought it was a prank, but let's be clear on this. When 3 people go to the hospital and 5 others are ill, this is no laughing matter. It's not a prank, it's felony activity, and that's why we take this seriously, and we'll continue to take it seriously. We talked a little bit about Amendment 64. Amendment 64 allows those 21 and over to consume small amounts of marijuana in the privacy of their own home. It does not allow somebody to provide a pot brownie to somebody who doesn't know what's in that brownie, and then they get sick afterward. That's felony activity.
The hospitalization, was that because of the potency of the brownies, or maybe just because these people didn't know what was going on? Because when you hear someone ingesting that, you don't typically think that someone has to go to the hospital for something like that.
Well, somebody that has never used marijuana, they can have different reactions. And the professor, for example, was going in and out of consciousness, so it was a serious medical concern, and that's why she was taken to the hospital immediately.
I thought when I looked at the booking report earlier, Miss Essa, I think I'm saying her name right, had more charges against her. Why is that?
At this point, those 4 charges I listed off, those are the charges that they'll face. The district attorney will make a decision on how many counts of each charge that they'll be charged with. I don't know why I listed it that way on the booking report, but it is possible that for the assault in the 2nd degree and inducing consumption of controlled substances by fraudulent means, they can face multiple counts of that because there were multiple people who fell ill from that. So it's possible there could be 10 or more felonies that each person could be facing.
Do we know what the relationship is between the 2 suspects?
I don't. I know they're classmates. I don't know beyond that.
Okay.
You guys ever seen anything like this in your experience?
Have you?
It's not unknown on the campus from time to time that this kind of thing comes up. I've never known it to be a case where somebody brought this material into a classroom and it affected a professor and all of his or her classmates. Certainly we've had instances with people, creating edible marijuana products and pass them out to their friends at parties and things like that. But this kind of situation in a classroom with an instructor, I've never heard of anything like that here.
I know you guys aren't doctors, but maybe you're a DRE, or what are the physiological effects of someone who hasn't had experience with marijuana? What dangers do they face medically?
Well, I believe you saw that from these 3 victims who were hospitalized. It can be dizziness, it can be dropping in and out of consciousness, anxiety, just not feeling well, having to lie down, vomiting. There can be some serious health considerations for somebody who eats these products that has not done it before.